It was the last night Christine Jessop was seen alive. A crisp October evening in 1984, when the cold settled deep into the small town of Queensville, Ontario, and no one knew a nightmare was just beginning. Christine was just 9 years old, small for her age, with bright blue eyes and curly blonde hair that framed her innocent face. She was quiet but curious, the kind of child who could make a house feel warmer just by being in it. On that day, she told her mother she was going to visit a friend nearby. She never came home. The search began almost immediately. Her disappearance shocked the tight-knit farming community, and for weeks, every corner was combed for any sign of the girl. Flyers with her smiling face covered every lamppost and store window, and neighbors formed search parties, their voices hoarse from calling her name in the cold. The police scoured the area, but with no witnesses and no clues, it was like chasing shadows. Days turned into weeks, and then the nightmare deepened. A hunter found her body in a shallow grave near a farm road miles from Queensville. Christine had been sexually assaulted and strangled. The news shattered the community, a quiet place where horrors like this were supposed to stay far away. The investigation that followed would drag on for decades, revealing dark secrets beneath the surface of the peaceful town. The lead detective on the case was Detective Sergeant Jack Ackroyd, a man hardened by years on the force but shaken by the cruelty of this crime. Ackroyd had a reputation for being thorough, relentless, and somehow compassionate in a world that often lacked mercy. From the start, he knew this wouldn't be an ordinary case. The lack of clear suspects or witnesses turned the investigation into a painstaking crawl through alibis, rumors, and forensic possibilities that technology at the time couldn't fully unlock. A man named Calvin Hoover, a local farmer, came under suspicion early. He was known to be socially awkward, with a history of minor run-ins with the law, and had been seen near the area around the time Christine vanished. The police brought him in for questioning. Hoover's eyes darted nervously, his hands trembled. But without concrete evidence, the case against him couldn't hold. Hoover vehemently denied any involvement, and the community was divided, some convinced of his guilt, others staunchly defending him. He would later pass a polygraph test, but that didn't erase the lingering doubt. In the years that followed, the investigation stalled, the coldness of the case freezing hope. Then came a breakthrough decades later when forensic science had evolved. In 2020, new DNA analysis techniques reopened the case. The forensic team extracted DNA from evidence collected at the original crime scene. The results were chilling. DNA from a man named Bruce MacArthur was found. MacArthur was already a known serial killer in Toronto, accused of murdering several men. But how was he connected to Christine Jessop, a child killed more than 30 years earlier in a rural town hundreds of kilometers away? This twist raised more questions than answers. Bruce MacArthur denied any involvement with Christine's murder, and the connection wasn't straightforward. Investigators had to consider if the DNA was a contaminant or linked through another mechanism. It was a grim reminder of how the past could intertwine with present horrors in unexpected ways. The story took another sharp turn when a cold case detective named Lori Klein-Zasser, who had worked tirelessly to keep Christine's case alive, pushed for a new look into all potential suspects using modern techniques. Under her guidance, police focused on local men with access to the area at the time of the crime. Among them was a man who had long flown under the radar, Gerald Reagan, a Queensville resident who had since passed away but had been known for his aggressive temper and troubling behavior towards children. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling enough to re-examine the case files and forensic samples. It became clear that the original investigation had missed critical leads, possibly due to limitations in technology and investigative methods. Throughout the long investigation, the community grappled with grief, suspicion, and the gnawing frustration of unanswered questions. Families locked their doors tighter, children played under watchful eyes, and the dark shadow of Christine's murder lingered. Christine's mother, Dorothy, never gave up hope. Her pain was palpable, etched into every public appeal and interview. "I just want to know what happened to my little girl," she said in a rare interview years later, her voice breaking. "Who took her from us? Who hurt her?" That question echoed through the years like a ghost, haunting everyone involved. The turning point came when the police released a composite sketch based on new witness statements, finally painting a clearer picture of a man seen near the Jessop home on the night Christine disappeared. This led to renewed public interest and new tips flooding in. One tip led to a local handyman who had been dismissed early in the investigation, but was now reconsidered due to inconsistencies in his alibi. His name was John Black, a quiet man with a history of minor offenses but no known violent crimes. His demeanor during interviews was unsettlingly calm. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to being near the scene but denied any involvement in the murder. His silence about that night only deepened the mystery. As pressure mounted, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source: a diary found in Christine Yu's room after her disappearance, hidden beneath floorboards during a renovation years later. The diary detailed her fears of a man who had been making her uncomfortable, a figure she described only as the Shadow. This discovery gave the investigation fresh urgency and a new direction. Police reopened interviews with neighbors and acquaintances, searching for anyone who might match the description. The case remained unsolved for so long, in part because of systemic failures, a lack of urgency, lost evidence, and a community reluctant to face uncomfortable truths. But in those dark years, Christine's story became a rallying cry for improved child protection laws in Ontario, sparking conversations about how vulnerable children were often invisible to the justice system. The legacy of her murder was more than just sorrow. It was a call for change. The final chapters of this story are still being written, with new leads and technologies offering hope that someday the full truth will emerge. But even now, the memory of Christine Jessop lingers, a reminder of innocence lost and the relentless pursuit of justice that can span decades. As the years pass, her name is whispered not just in grief, but in determination, a promise that no victim will be forgotten. If stories like this keep you hooked, hit subscribe for more.